In a remote village bound by tradition and sacred boundaries, a girl unknowingly steps into land considered holy, the domain of the gods. She had no idea that a single step would be seen as a serious offense. To the locals, that place isn't just a shrine, it's a divine residence, and outsiders are watched with suspicion. Even the smallest transgression is treated like a crime. And now, the nightmare begins. What seemed like a simple mistake is about to turn into an unthinkable sentence. The girl trembles in fear. What started as a harmless recording now turns into a threat to her life. They accuse her of being rude, saying she disrespected their customs by filming without permission. They talk about information society and good manners, but their actions speak only of cruelty. She desperately tries to delete the footage, hoping it might save her. But hope fades when another person, an accidental witness, sees everything. "That's not good," they whisper. And now, the danger grows even darker. The girl's desperate cries mean nothing to those around her. One admits their fault, forgetting to replace the lock, but any hint of sympathy vanishes quickly. With a cold tone, someone declares the next step: take her up the mountain. She pleads, shaking, but her voice is swallowed by the silence of a decision already made. Mercy has no place here, only quiet, mechanical procedure. Their destination is called the Picket Cave, and from the way they speak, it's not a place anyone returns from. In the dead of night, the girl's body is overwhelmed by merciless blows and stabs. Blood splatters across the scene, her wide eyes frozen in terror, pain, and betrayal. A voice calmly follows, "Good." As if it were nothing more than routine. In the shadows, figures stand unfazed. "We didn't meet anyone today," one says. "Good work, everyone." And just like that, a life is erased, vanishing into the quiet darkness, forgotten by those who ended it. A car rolls gently through a quiet countryside road. Vast rice fields stretch into the distance, and the number of houses dwindles. Inside, a small family shares laughter, embracing their move to an unfamiliar but hopeful new home. Minori, the daughter, exclaims in disbelief, "This is really the middle of nowhere." Her father laughs, assuring her the internet is still accessible. He needs it for work, after all. But while their car carries warmth and lightness, a darker conversation unfolds elsewhere, talks of keys, meetings, and mistakes made. Two vastly different worlds, unknowingly on a path toward collision. At a small cafe, a new meeting begins. A middle-aged man greets a young family, father, mother, and their little daughter. Friendly smiles light up their faces, marking an introduction filled with hope. Among them sits a young woman, part of the light conversation taking place. Yet beneath this seemingly simple moment, there's a subtle sense of unease, as if something unspoken lingers behind the polite gestures and warm greetings. Amid warm conversation at a cafe, the group discusses the move and the journey. Everything appears smooth. With exchanged smiles and polite gestures, they prepare to head to their cars. Minori, the little girl, seems slightly uneasy yet observant of her surroundings. As they part ways, the atmosphere remains calm, but it hints that this is merely the beginning of something far more significant. An elderly man calmly delivers an important announcement, seemingly accustomed to his role. Under the warm afternoon sun, light chatter takes place. On the surface, it feels casual, but something unspoken lingers. His gaze sharpens, as if hiding a quiet concern. Meanwhile, the new family gets ready to head off, driving into the bumpy, silent countryside road. On the road to their new life, the family drives past long stretches of empty landscape. A subtle unease appears in the child's eyes, curiosity mixed with discomfort. They pass the school that will soon become part of their daily routine, nestled beneath quiet mountains, far removed from the city's noise. Though it lacks modern attractions, the area offers peace and a sense of untouched freshness they've never experienced before. The family's car drives over an old bridge stretching across a wide river. The rural landscape opens up around them, rice fields, distant mountains, and narrow roads unfamiliar to city dwellers. The children gaze out the window in awe, while the adults quietly take in the quiet world they're about to enter. Though far from bustling shopping districts, this new place offers simplicity and peace, perhaps the beginning of something meaningful for this family. Upon arriving at their new home, the family is surprised to find the house looking better than expected. Their young daughter lights up with excitement, her eyes sparkling at the sight of the simple yet well-maintained wooden house. The mother appears relieved after the long drive, while the father smiles, trying to ease the mood. An elderly man greets them warmly, hinting that their arrival had been anticipated. The rustic charm of the countryside begins to settle in. This house may just mark the start of something unexpected. The quiet countryside begins to feel warmer as the local residents welcome the new family with kindness. The father chats briefly with familiar faces before heading off to attend a town meeting. Meanwhile, the mother and children stay behind, greeted by a woman who seems ready to guide them around the village. As the father walks away, a small request from his daughter adds a touch of charm and intimacy to the moment. It feels like the beginning of a new chapter, full of quiet hopes. Two men stroll along a peaceful mountain road, surrounded by calm nature. Their conversation is light yet personal, revealing the father's decision to move to the countryside. Meanwhile, back home, his daughter uses a breathing device, watched over by her mother. The father recalls his own struggles with asthma, suggesting a shared condition. Moving wasn't just for peace, it was for his daughter's health. Now working remotely, he embraces a new way of life in this modern era. The two men continue their stroll through the peaceful countryside. The local man smiles warmly, hopeful this place can offer the newcomer some much-needed rest. Quiet roads and open nature hint at the village's isolation. At a small intersection, a surveillance camera stands silently, its presence subtle, yet deliberate. Curious, the newcomer is told it's there to quietly watch over things. In a community where the population is aging, keeping an eye on unusual events requires a modern touch. As they continue walking, surveillance cameras appear everywhere, on the streets, on electric poles, even on house walls. It's as if nothing escapes their watchful eyes. To the locals, these cameras are part of the daily landscape, no longer strange. The newcomer, however, is clearly surprised by the level of monitoring in such a remote place, far more than he had expected. Soon, they encounter another villager, offering a warm greeting, his curiosity piqued by the new face. Whispers and glances begin to follow. A few village men gather, each holding long, square sticks resembling construction lumber. One of them introduces himself as a farmer. The mood appears friendly, but there's something subtly off in the air. They offer one of the sticks to the newcomer as well. Though he smiles, there's a hint of confusion in his eyes, unsure of what this gesture really means. What's with all these sticks? And why does this welcome feel so coordinated? One of the village men hands a stick to Amagase. Though hesitant, he accepts it. The stick looks strange, solid black except for certain areas that seem worn from use. The men mention that this is an important village event and encourage Amagase to join in. Still unsure of what's happening, he tries to smile and go along. But the warm welcome slowly starts to feel more unsettling, as if there's something hidden beneath this so-called tradition. Amagase arrives at the village community center, accompanied by the locals carrying wooden sticks. His curiosity grows as more people show up, each armed with similar blunt weapons. He assumes this must be a boar or bear hunt, but the atmosphere feels off. When he innocently asks about it, the old men laugh, not with warmth, but with a kind of laughter that hides something he doesn't yet understand. Amagase had laughed along, thinking this was just a quirky village ritual. But the smiles around him turned cold. One of the men clarified, those sticks weren't for pests. Before he could ask further, a door opened. On the floor lay a bloodied human body, face beaten beyond recognition. One word was spoken with chilling calm: criminals. Amagase stood frozen. He trembled, unable to believe what he was witnessing. In front of him, a man was being beaten mercilessly. The villagers smiled as if it were routine. One proudly noted how smooth the sticks were, for comfort. Then, they handed one to him, telling him it was his turn. His hands gripped the stick tightly, heart pounding. This wasn't pest control. This was execution. He froze, the stick in his hand trembling. Before him lay a bloodied body, barely moving. An older man approached calmly, demonstrating where to strike, like a teacher correcting a student's grip. No compassion, only routine. To them, this violence wasn't cruelty. It was protocol. In an era where fights are rare, systematic brutality had taken their place, masked by polite smiles. The stick struck down with brutal force, splintering both wood and flesh. A sickening crack echoed, but instead of guilt, there was only a casual complaint about the broken stick. Amagase stood frozen, horrified. Around him, no one flinched, not at the blood, not at the pain. Their concern was for the wood, not the man. In that moment, the world he stepped into revealed its true, terrifying nature. The air turned heavy as the young man's turn came. His face pale, hands trembling, his body betrayed the panic churning inside. But around him, there was no pity. Only cold observation. To the townspeople, this was nothing new, just another rite, and he was expected to play his part. A sharp glare from one of the men cut through the silence. This outsider doesn't even know the way around town. Yet here he was, being led down a path darker than he ever imagined. The townsfolk smiled again, as if what just happened was no more than a misunderstanding. One man offered a measured explanation. This, he said, was a tradition best introduced slowly. But the warmth in their voices couldn't erase the shadow of what had occurred. The ritual had a name, tea. To newcomers, it was just a word. But for those who knew better, it meant something far more chilling than a mere local event. To the people of this town, violence isn't driven by anger, it's tradition. A ritual, they say, meant to keep order. A collective act of purification. The man lying broken on the ground committed an offense. It might seem minor, but in this place, even small sins are punished harshly. One by one, they step forward. Smiles stretch across their faces, in stark contrast to the blood splattered on the floor. This isn't judgment, it's a ritualized performance. And now, only one remains. The newcomer, still holding a clean stick. Encouraged by smiles and a pat on the shoulder, he finally steps forward. Just a small tap, that's all they ask. But the meaning runs deeper. It's participation, acknowledgement, a binding act. And when his stick touches the body, the whole room accepts him. With applause and satisfied smiles, the ritual is declared complete. He has undergone TE, as town law dictates. Starting tomorrow, he will once again serve the peace of Hisatate. Everyone present swears to protect the town's tranquility. Yet in the midst of it all, he feels something unforgettable, a slick sensation through the wood, as if brushing up against the truth behind it all. Everything returns to normal. Smiles, praise, and casual chatter replace the violence that had just occurred. People begin to move on, talking about drinks and getting back to work. But amid all the cheerfulness, something feels wrong to him. He looks around, and sees him unconscious. His body lies still, and no one seems to truly care. He lies motionless on the floor. Some try to lift him, then give up. Too heavy, they say with a laugh, as if his blooded body were nothing more than dead weight. They decide to leave him there, assuming the pain will knock him out soon. He stares in disbelief. The people around him act like nothing happened. While one man bleeds out, the others are already thinking about the nearest shop.